Courtney Hadwin's story is one of the most remarkable journeys to emerge from the world of televised talent competitions. Picture a young teenager walking onto one of the biggest stages in entertainment, facing a packed audience, while standing only a few feet away from the famously difficult-to-impress judges. Among them was Simon Cowell, whose approval has launched countless careers over the years. In 2018, 13-year-old Courtney delivered a performance so electrifying that it left the audience in disbelief and even caught Simon's full attention. His reaction alone convinced millions that they were witnessing the birth of a major star. With his support and the backing of his music label, it appeared that Courtney's future in the music industry was already written. Success seemed inevitable. Yet the path that followed proved far more complicated than anyone expected. Despite the excitement, media attention, and enormous opportunities that surrounded her, the momentum gradually slowed. Many fans were left wondering why such an extraordinary talent seemed to disappear from the spotlight. To understand what happened, it is important to go back to the very beginning of her journey. Long before international audiences knew her name, Courtney Hadwin was simply a young girl growing up in the quiet village of Heselden in County Durham, located in northeast England. Born on July 6, 2004, she spent her childhood surrounded by a close-knit family. Her parents, Paul and Anne-Marie, raised Courtney alongside her younger brother, Paul, and her younger sister, Melissa. Music quickly became an important part of everyday life in the Hadwin household. Even as a small child, Courtney loved to sing around the house, showing a natural ability that became more noticeable with each passing year. As her confidence slowly grew, she became interested in musical theater and started experimenting with songs by artists she admired. Watching young singer Connie Talbot perform on Britain's Got Talent inspired Courtney to dream of pursuing music seriously, planting the idea that perhaps she could one day stand on a similar stage herself. Around the age of 9 or 10, Courtney began focusing much more seriously on developing her voice. While attending Heselden Primary School and later the Academy at Shotton Hall, she performed during a lunchtime open mic session, singing Say Something by A Great Big World and Christina Aguilera. Someone recorded the performance and shared it online, where it quickly attracted attention throughout the local community. Friends, classmates, and teachers were amazed that such a powerful, soulful voice could come from someone so quiet and reserved. Encouraged by the overwhelming response, Courtney dedicated herself even more to singing and songwriting, determined to improve every chance she could. Her grandfather later revealed that Courtney even performed as a busker in local areas to help earn money for singing lessons and cover travel expenses connected to her musical ambitions. Although the earnings were modest, every contribution helped. She trained at several respected local performing arts schools and vocal academies, including Shotton Hall Theatre School, Peanuts Masterclasses, Kateser School of Music, and Vocal Ovation under Julie Miles. These lessons strengthened her technique, while allowing her unique voice to develop naturally without losing its distinctive character. Competitive performances soon became another important step in her growth. In 2015, Courtney entered Teen Star UK in Newcastle, where her emotional interpretation of Bob Dylan's Make You Feel My Love carried her all the way to the grand final and introduced her to a much wider audience. The following year brought even more recognition. At just 12 years old, she received Hartlepool's Performer of the Year award and also reached the finals of the Beyond the Lights competition. During the same period, she auditioned for Open Mic UK, performing Nothing Compares to You, further establishing herself as one of the region's most promising young singers. That summer marked another significant milestone when Courtney was invited to perform before Sister Sledge at the South Tyneside Festival. Singing in front of an audience of more than 18,000 people was a huge leap from local talent shows, and it demonstrated that she was capable of commanding large crowds with remarkable confidence. Each performance strengthened her reputation, and more people began believing she possessed the rare qualities needed for an international career. In 2017, Courtney took another major step by auditioning for The Voice Kids UK. Her explosive version of Tina Turner's Nutbush City Limits impressed the coaches and earned her a place on Danny Jones's team. She successfully advanced through the competition, performing Dancing in the Street during the battle round before reaching the semifinals with James Brown's I Got You, I Feel Good. Her journey concluded with a powerful performance of And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going, finishing the competition as one of its finalists. The experience gave her valuable television exposure while proving that she could consistently deliver under intense pressure. Behind every performance stood an extraordinary amount of dedication. Courtney committed herself to regular vocal training from around the age of 11 and maintained a disciplined practice routine throughout her teenage years. Those countless hours of rehearsals, open mic appearances, competitions, and live performances across Northern England gradually shaped her into a confident performer, with a style unlike anyone else. Every opportunity added another layer to her experience and strengthened her determination to succeed. Equally important was the unwavering support of her family. Courtney has often credited them for helping her remain focused on her passion rather than becoming overwhelmed by fame. Her mother recognized her remarkable gift early and encouraged her to pursue every opportunity. Her father worked extra jobs, including delivering pizzas, to help pay for fuel and travel costs so Courtney could attend auditions, lessons, and performances throughout the region. Their sacrifices allowed her to continue chasing her dream without giving up because of financial obstacles. As Courtney's career expanded through The Voice Kids UK and later America's Got Talent, her family continued standing beside her. During her time competing internationally, they reportedly spent extended periods in Los Angeles to support her, while her father regularly traveled back and forth so Courtney could continue her education alongside her growing career. Despite television appearances, recording opportunities, and worldwide recognition, her family remained her strongest source of stability. They reminded her where she came from and helped ensure that music continued to be something she genuinely loved instead of something driven only by pressure and expectations. By the beginning of 2018, Courtney's growing reputation had attracted attention far beyond the United Kingdom. Reports indicate that producers from America's Got Talent reached out in search of exceptional international performers, leading to an invitation that would transform her life forever. It was a chance to move from being one of Britain's brightest young talents to performing before millions of viewers across the world. Courtney accepted the opportunity, unaware that stepping onto that famous stage would become the defining turning point of her career and introduce her remarkable voice to a global audience. Courtney Hadwin was only 13 years old when she walked onto the stage of America's Got Talent in 2018. The teenager from County Durham, England, appeared timid and uncertain, giving little hint of what was about to happen. But the instant the opening notes of Otis Redding's classic song filled the theater, the atmosphere changed completely. The shy schoolgirl who had quietly introduced herself disappeared, replaced by a fearless performer with explosive energy, a gritty stage presence, and a remarkably soulful voice that sounded far beyond her years. Every movement carried confidence, every lyric commanded attention, and within moments the audience was on its feet. People couldn't believe someone so young could deliver such a mature and powerful performance. Even the judges were caught off guard. Simon Cowell, known for rarely showing emotion during auditions, watched in visible amazement. After the performance ended, he summed up what everyone had just witnessed by saying that Courtney had entered the stage looking like this shy little thing, but once she began singing, she became like a lion. His reaction instantly became one of the defining moments of that season. Judge Howie Mandel was equally overwhelmed. Without hesitation, he pressed the golden buzzer, sending Courtney directly to the live shows. He compared her unmistakable vocal style to legendary rock and blues singer Janis Joplin, describing her voice as belonging to another era rather than that of a modern teenager. The audition quickly became one of the biggest viral moments in the history of the show. Millions of viewers around the world watched the performance online within days, and it continued to spread across television broadcasts, news reports, and social media. By the time Courtney returned for the live rounds, she had already earned a worldwide following. Fans and music lovers praised not only the power of her voice, but also her authenticity, describing her as one of the most exciting young performers to emerge in years. Every appearance generated more attention, and many believed they were witnessing the rise of a once-in-a-generation talent. Throughout the competition, Courtney consistently delivered energetic performances that showcased both her unique voice and fearless stage presence. She successfully advanced through the quarterfinals and semifinals, building even greater momentum with every round. Although she ultimately finished sixth in the competition, many viewers considered her one of the season's biggest breakout stars. More importantly, America's Got Talent introduced her to an international audience and opened doors that might otherwise have taken years to unlock. She later returned to compete on America's Got Talent, the Champions in 2019, further strengthening her reputation as one of the show's most memorable contestants. Following the success of the competition, Simon Cowell demonstrated his confidence in Courtney's future by signing her to in partnership with. For a teenager who had only recently stepped onto one of television's biggest stages, it was an extraordinary opportunity. Suddenly, Courtney was no longer simply a talented contestant. She was beginning a professional music career with the backing of one of the industry's most influential figures. Expectations rose dramatically as fans eagerly anticipated her original music and the next chapter of her journey. However, the excitement of sudden fame came with challenges that few teenagers are prepared to face. Almost overnight, Courtney's audition was featured on television programs around the world, discussed by entertainment journalists, and celebrated across countless online platforms. Media outlets described her as a future rock star, while many continued comparing her to Janis Joplin because of her distinctive vocal style. Although the attention was exciting, it also brought enormous pressure. At just 14 years old, she found herself entering a demanding music industry where recording schedules, interviews, promotional appearances, and public expectations became part of everyday life. When Courtney officially signed her long-term recording and publishing agreement, she expressed genuine excitement about creating original music while remaining true to her own artistic identity. She spoke enthusiastically about fulfilling a lifelong dream and looked forward to exploring her creativity. Yet the transition from television sensation to recording artist proved far more complicated than she had imagined. Instead of simply singing the music she loved, she entered an industry driven by commercial expectations, deadlines, and constant public attention. As recording sessions began, Courtney worked alongside producers, songwriters, and music executives who all had ideas about the direction her career should take. While many wanted to shape her into a polished commercial artist, Courtney herself was still discovering who she wanted to become as both a singer and a songwriter. Like many young performers entering the music business, she faced the difficult task of balancing professional guidance with her own developing artistic identity. The comparisons to legendary musicians brought valuable publicity, but also created expectations that were difficult for any teenager to carry. The pace of her new career quickly became exhausting. She frequently traveled between the United Kingdom and the United States for recording sessions, promotional work, performances, and media appearances. Despite the glamorous image presented to the public, the schedule demanded long hours and constant adaptation. Behind the scenes, she was still a teenager trying to balance personal growth with the responsibilities of an international music career. While fans admired her confidence on stage, few could see the emotional and creative challenges that accompanied such rapid success. Music critics continued praising Courtney's electrifying performances, powerful vocals, and remarkable stage presence. Reviewers highlighted the raw energy that had first captivated audiences during her audition, and many believed she possessed extraordinary long-term potential. Yet, as her career developed, Courtney also experienced the natural uncertainty that many young artists encounter while searching for their own authentic voice. The rapid rise to fame brought unforgettable opportunities, but it also required maturity, resilience, and self-discovery far beyond her years. Her journey became not only the story of an exceptionally talented singer, but also that of a young artist learning how to protect her identity while growing under the spotlight of worldwide attention. That IT was this growing pressure that quietly set the stage for the next chapter of Courtney Hadwin's journey. Success had arrived faster than almost anyone could imagine, but with it came challenges few teenagers are prepared to handle. Fame can be exciting, but it also demands constant attention, endless expectations, and sacrifices that become even harder when the person at the center of it all is still growing up. At just 14 years old, Courtney suddenly found herself trying to balance adolescence with the demands of an international music career, a combination that proved far more difficult than many people realized. After the remarkable success she achieved on America's Got Talent, Courtney signed with Psycho Music and Arista Records, opening the door to opportunities that many aspiring artists spend a lifetime chasing. Yet the excitement of landing a major recording contract also introduced an entirely new reality. Instead of enjoying the freedom to develop naturally as an artist, her schedule quickly became packed with meetings, studio sessions, planning discussions, promotional commitments, and constant travel. The pace was relentless, leaving very little room for the ordinary experiences most teenagers take for granted. The music industry moves quickly, especially when a young artist captures worldwide attention. Record labels naturally want to build on that momentum, and that often means creating music under strict timelines. Courtney suddenly found herself working with professional producers, songwriters, and executives who all had their own ideas about the direction her career should take. While these collaborations offered valuable experience, they also meant she was expected to adapt to an environment where commercial success often influenced creative decisions. Courtney has spoken openly in interviews about this period, explaining that she sometimes felt as though too many people were trying to shape her identity as an artist. She recalled feeling that others often had strong opinions about who she should become and what kind of music she should make. For a performer whose breakthrough performances were driven by raw emotion and individuality, adjusting to a more structured recording process was not always easy. Like many young musicians entering the industry for the first time, she was still discovering her own artistic voice while trying to meet the expectations of experienced professionals. As recording sessions continued, Courtney occasionally found herself struggling to connect with some of the material being created. Rather than simply singing songs, she wanted music that genuinely reflected her personality and musical influences. Her powerful, soulful voice had earned comparisons to legendary performers because of its authenticity, and preserving that authenticity became increasingly important to her. Finding the balance between commercial production and personal expression proved to be one of the biggest challenges of this stage in her career. The constant demands also began to take an emotional toll. Although audiences saw a confident performer commanding the stage with extraordinary energy, off-stage she was still a teenager navigating a life that had changed almost overnight. Long recording sessions, international travel, interviews, rehearsals, and public appearances left little time to slow down. The excitement of success was real, but so was the exhaustion that often accompanied it. Courtney has acknowledged in interviews that there were moments when the pressure felt overwhelming. Even while receiving praise from judges, fans, and music professionals, she sometimes struggled with the emotional weight of living under constant public attention. Being surrounded by industry professionals while spending long periods away from familiar routines could feel isolating, especially for someone